Welcome back to the channel, everybody. We've got a packed slate today with 4 games to break down, and this is exactly the kind of card where the right betting angles matter. In this video, I'm going to go game by game, break down the matchups, give you the best angles on the side, the total, and a few prop style ideas as well. Now let's get straight into what all of you came here for. We start with Qatar against Switzerland, and on paper this looks like one of the more straightforward matchups of the slate. Switzerland comes in as the stronger side overall, and I think the matchup supports that. Qatar is making history by playing on this stage, but Switzerland has the more complete roster, the more stable structure, and the better overall experience in games like this. That matters a lot in a tournament setting. The way I see this game, Switzerland should be able to control the pace early. If they score first, it could turn into a pretty comfortable night for them. I don't necessarily think we need to force a huge scoreline here, because once Switzerland gets ahead, they may just manage the game and take the safe route to victory. So my best pick here is Switzerland to win, and I also like the idea of a low-card game if the match plays out the way I expect. If Switzerland gets an early goal, the tempo could settle down pretty quickly. Now to the game of the day, Brazil against Morocco. This is the matchup everybody wants to talk about, and for good reason. Brazil always brings attention, but Morocco is no pushover. They are organized, disciplined, and extremely difficult to break down when they're locked in defensively. Brazil still has the more talented attacking group, no question about it. Even with some absences and lineup questions, they've got too much quality up front to ignore. But Morocco has the kind of shape and defensive identity that can make this uncomfortable if Brazil doesn't finish chances early. This is the game where I think the middle of the pitch becomes really important. If Morocco can slow down Brazil's rhythm and force them into frustration, then this could be much closer than people expect. On the flip side, if Brazil gets comfortable and starts connecting passes in the final third, Morocco may be under pressure for long stretches. My best pick here is Brazil to win, but I also like the idea of both teams to score. I think Morocco can absolutely find a way to threaten, especially if Brazil pushes numbers forward and leaves some space behind. Next up, Haiti takes on Scotland. This is a spot where Scotland should absolutely be expected to handle business. They're the more established side, they've got more experience in this kind of setting, and overall they simply look stronger across the board. That said, I don't want to overcomplicate this one. When a team is expected to win comfortably, sometimes the best approach is not to overthink it. Scotland should have enough quality to control this game and get the result. Where I do think there's some value is in player involvement. A guy like Scott McTominay stands out to me because he's been in strong form and tends to get into dangerous spots when Scotland are on the front foot. If he starts well, he can absolutely be part of the scoring picture or at least generate some shots and activity around the box. So for this one, my best pick is Scotland to win. If you want a little more risk, I also don't mind looking towards Scott McTominay shots or a player involvement angle. Last game on the board is Australia against Turkey, and this is the one I find most interesting from a betting perspective. Turkey has the more technical ceiling in my opinion. They've got exciting young talent, more creativity in the final third, and players who can change the game in a flash. That said, Australia has shown before that they can be difficult to put away, especially if they keep things compact and force you to work for every chance. I do think the key here is tempo. If Turkey gets the game played at their pace, I like their chances a lot more. They have the kind of players who can unlock a defense if they can settle into possession and play their game. But if Australia turns this into a messy, physical matchup, then it becomes a lot more awkward. Still, my best pick is Turkey to win. I think they have the higher-end individual quality and enough upside to get the job done. I also think this could be a game where Australia picks up a few cards if they're forced to chase and defend a lot. If I had to narrow the board down, here's how I'd rank the plays. I'd start with Switzerland to win. That feels like the cleanest side on the card because they have the stronger structure, the better overall balance, and the kind of experience that usually shows up in these tournament spots. Qatar can compete for stretches, but over the full 90 minutes I think Switzerland has the edge. Next, I'd go with Brazil to win. Brazil just has too much quality across the pitch, and even though Morocco is a dangerous and well-organized side, I still think Brazil finds a way to separate. They have more ways to hurt you, and that's usually what matters in these bigger matchups. After that, I like Scotland to win. This is the more straightforward one for me. Scotland should have the edge in quality and experience, and this feels like a game where they can do enough to get the job done without needing anything crazy. Then I'd land on Turkey to win. That's the upside play in the group for me. Turkey has the more explosive talent and the higher ceiling in terms of individual quality, and if they play their game, I think they can absolutely take control. One of the most interesting angles on the board is Brazil and Morocco both to score. That's the kind of play I really like because Brazil is obviously strong enough to win the game, but Morocco is too disciplined and too dangerous to completely ignore. I think they can create moments, and once you get into a game like that, both teams having a path to the net becomes very realistic. I also like the idea of Turkey to win with Australia under pressure on cards. That's a little more of a game script play, but it makes sense to me. If Turkey gets control, Australia may be forced into more defensive actions, more challenges, and more frustration. That can lead to cards, especially if they're chasing the match. My strongest lean is probably still Brazil versus Morocco, both teams to score. That's the one that feels most interesting to me because Brazil's quality is obvious, but Morocco is too organized to completely write off. I think both teams can have real moments in this game, and that makes the angle stand out. After that, I like Switzerland to win as the cleanest side, and I also like Turkey as the upset type side with the most upside. Those are the two that stand out most when I'm trying to keep the card simple and strong. At the end of the day, this is a really fun slate because every game has a different betting shape. You've got one clear favorite, one heavyweight matchup, one straightforward spot for Scotland, and one game where Turkey's quality could end up being the difference. That gives you a lot of different ways to attack the board without forcing anything. So that's where I'm landing today. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with somebody who's betting these games tonight. It helps the channel a lot, and it lets me keep bringing you these daily picks and breakdowns. And I'll catch you in the next one.